doing that. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So on this week's video, we are going to be talking about all things iPad and how I use my iPad at university or college as a part of my PhD to keep everything organized and be the best prepared I can for classes. Also, I have referenced this a lot in a lot of my videos, so I figured let's just dedicate a whole video to it, and then it's easy to just like refer back to and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we have to cover when we talk about my iPad and how I use it at college is GoodNotes. GoodNotes is essentially a note-taking software. It does exactly what it says on the tin and it helps you take good notes. Why did I say that? There are two packages for GoodNotes. You can have the free version or you can have the paid for version. GoodNotes is the only app in my life that I've ever paid for. I have never been one of those people that pays for apps, and I did for GoodNotes, and I do not regret it. I would do the exact same thing a million times over because for me it has been really worth it. The free version is good, very good, but it's limited to how many sort of notebooks and things you can have in there, whereas you get completely unlimited with GoodNotes Premium, which is why I paid for it. It was something it was really cheap. I think it was $8 or something, which I thought was well worth it because I'm going to be using it every day, and I have been using it every day. But yes, we will get into more about notebooks and things a bit later on, but I did just want to highlight that it can be free or it can be paid for. So when I discovered GoodNotes, these were the 5 things that really kind of hooked me on it. So number 1 was the fact that you can import PDFs on GoodNotes. So this was really helpful for me because it meant that it's my cat in the background. Hello. So the one thing that I really liked about it was the fact that you can import. I'm sorry. She's just lying there. You can import papers is what I'm trying to say. So as a PhD student, that's really valuable. I've never been someone who can scroll through a laptop and read a paper. I had to either print it out physically, which just wasted a lot of paper. So now that I found this, I was like, oh, maybe I could start using my iPad for something like that. And I felt like that would really help me. The second reason was the fact that it's an excellent balance between actually physically writing in a notebook and having everything stored in one place without having to bring a million notebooks with you. So I really like when I'm revising and stuff, I don't type notes or anything. I just never really got into that. If that's your thing, that's great. I've just never really got into that. So having GoodNotes, it's one of the ones that actually lets you hand write it, as well as having the typing capability, which I really liked. Which brings me on to the other thing is it syncs easily across devices. So if I forget my iPad one day, I have it on my laptop and I can get access to that both ways, and I can type notes on that as well in the notebook. So it's a really good balance of having the two. And you can also have unlimited notebooks with the paid version. So I can have literally notebooks for everything. And now I kind of want to dive in to how I set up my GoodNotes to use at college. Now that Dong Dong has very kindly decided to move, I can sit on the sofa for this next section of the video. Basically, what I do is I tend to have a folder for each subject. So I will have a folder for course 1, course 2, course 3, and I will kind of keep it organized in that way on the main sort of interface. Then once you click inside the folder, I will have maybe 3 to 4 notebooks in each one. So one of them will be class notes. So that is the kind of notebook that I use to take notes in class, listen to what the lecturer is saying, write down all the notes and stuff, write down any questions that I have. That will be my kind of brain dump class notes notebook. Then the second notebook that I have is the homework notebook. So this will be where I write down information for homework, deadlines, to-do lists, scrap notes. If I'm writing a lit review, it will be where I keep all my papers, outlines, literally everything goes in that notebook. The thing I like about GoodNotes is that you never come to the end of a notebook. It can literally be an unlimited supply and unlimited infinite page notebook, which is nice because then I know that all of my stuff is in one place and it's going to be in that notebook. What I also like about the notebooks is that when you add and take away pages, you can change the style of the pages that you add and take away. So say I want to do a mind map on one of my pages, I don't have to go out and buy a new blank notebook or whatever. I can just insert a page that's blank or squared or dotted or however I want to do that. You can also import documents into a notebook rather than as a separate document altogether. So that's just kind of handy if say you've got a 1-page document that you just want to slip in there, you just can. And that's something that I really like about it. So that's how I kind of organize my notebooks. And then the rest of the folder will be filled with papers, documents, that kind of stuff. So when I'm writing papers for a class, I know that it's going to be within that folder. And to be honest, this works for a number of reasons, mainly because it just helps me keep organized, if anything. It really helps me save paper and space physically within my bag because I don't have to bring 5 notebooks to school every day, 1 for each subject. Also means that I don't really have to think in the morning about what subjects I'm going to do or what work I'm going to do because I can just slip my iPad in and I know that literally everything is in that little document. I just love it. I just think it's really cool. So now I just sort of want to cover some of the features that I didn't know about when I first started using GoodNotes, but now I really can't live without, and they've really helped me sort of maximize, keep everything everything in one place and keep them all neat. So when I first started using it, I kind of opened up a notebook and was kind of like scribbling down, and it was all kind of messy until I discovered the zoom feature. Now that is like probably quite obvious to people, but me at the time it really wasn't. So it's this little zoom feature in the corner, which I'll show you, little zoom feature, and it basically means you can sort of write underneath and everything is bigger and zoomed in. So then when you zoom back out, your writing is so much neater and you can fit so much more on a page than I could before. So that's definitely like my number one feature that I use. The second one is the hold and snap feature. So if you're like drawing a circle, drawing a box, drawing a line, and you draw it with your finger and hold it, it like snaps it into a shape, which I just think is super useful when you're trying to keep ideas separate, or maybe like separate into tables or whatever, but it also just keeps it neat rather than having like wobbly hand-drawn tables all the time, which I kind of liked. The other thing I like is, I didn't realize I could do this, is customize the pen type and the thickness of the pen, which is really nice because sometimes the pen is just too thin, or I want like a more of a solid marker. If you hold down the little icon, you can change the thickness completely, and if you hold down the little pen icon, you can change what type of pen it is. And the final thing is highlighters. So at school, like, I don't know, I find when I read, I have to highlight basically everything, and I used to get through like so many packets of highlighters, but now I can just, it's just there and it's never gonna run out, and I never have to buy another highlight. See, $8 for like an unlimited supply of lifetime highlighters and notebooks. I just think that's well worth it. So that brings us to almost the end of this video, but before I left, I didn't just want to talk about GoodNotes when I'm talking about how I use my iPad in college, because recently I have discovered the colouring app, and the colouring app is probably the best thing that I've ever discovered on my iPad aside from GoodNotes. And it's basically a colouring book, and I can go with my little pencil and I can colour in, and it's just really great, relaxing thing that I like to do for 10 minutes or so if I'm feeling particularly stressed that day, or if I want a little break from studying. Just a really nice thing, because I've again got an unlimited supply of colouring books and colouring pencils all on here. It's just a really nice mindfulness activity that I really like to do. So I would definitely recommend getting like a colouring app or like paint by numbers app on your iPad. I just think there's some really nice things that you can do with this iPad. There we have it. That is how I tend to use my iPad and how I use GoodNotes for college to keep myself all organised, how I break down my folders, how the little tools that I like to use, everything like that. What I haven't started doing yet is using it as a planner. So if anyone has any advice on how to use GoodNotes as a planner, or any good templates that I should be downloading, then please let me know in the comments below, because that's something that I do want to get started on and just haven't been able to find like the right place to start. So any advice would be very much welcome. Again, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you have, I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please remember to drop a comment below, like, and subscribe to my channel for more PhD related content every single Wednesday. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.